It is time for Hamilton Southeastern basketball on Audio Sports Online. Tonight, Hoosier Crossroads Conference action for you on ASO as the Royals welcome the Millers from Noblesville to Hamilton Southeastern High School, and all that action is upcoming on Audio Sports Online. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Royals basketball on ASO. I'm Brian Scott. Hamilton Southeastern begins play this week, ranked number 13 in Class 4A. This is despite losing last Friday in that heartbreaking loss at Zionsville. Royals drop from 11 only to number 13. They are 13-3 on the season, 2-1, however, in Hoosier Crossroads Conference action. And right now, every game in the HCC, very, very important. Right now, two teams stand above Hamilton Southeastern as we begin play tonight in the HCC standings, both Brownsburg and Zionsville. Of course, Southeastern has lost to Zionsville, but Brownsburg, that still remains on the Royal schedule, and both Brownsburg and Zionsville have to play one another. So there are still some big games to be played. Zionsville and Brownsburg, actually, they are playing tonight. So a big game in the HCC for Hamilton Southeastern. The winner of the Brownsburg and Zionsville game, they will have the inside track. Should Zionsville win that game, they pretty much control their own destiny. Should Brownsburg win it, then Hamilton Southeastern still has a shot at sharing the HCC title. But first, they have to take care of the Noblesville Millers. The Millers are 7-8, 1-2 in HCC play. They're coming off of a loss last week. They fell to Logansport by the score of 58-51. Logansport able to rally there in the second half after Noblesville led by the score of 26-21 at the break. Logansport outscored Noblesville in the second half to come away with the win. The Millers did have three players in double figures in scoring against the Berries. Max Flencham, Nolan Ginther, and Corby Mertens all scored in double figures, with Flencham leading the Millers with 13 points. And the Millers, they took advantage of some three-point shooting to help keep them in the game, but they were only 6 of 19. And while they shot very well from the free throw line, they only went to the free throw line 18 times. Story of that game really was on the glass, as the Millers could only come away with 18 rebounds, and they turned the ball over 10 times. This is the Noblesville Miller team under head coach Brian McCauley, who's in his third year at the helm of the Millers after taking over for a long-time head coach David McCulloch. This is the third year for Coach McCauley, and in those 3 years, he is now 34-28 at Noblesville. For those of you that are not familiar with Brian McCauley, like I said, it's his third year. He had a very, very successful term at Kokomo, leading the Cats to 4 straight sectional titles before taking over for Coach McCauley in 2014 and 2015. One of those ended up in a semi-state appearance for the Kokomo Wildcats back in 2011, now trying to see if he can do the same here at Noblesville. Noblesville, their big problem, it's been scoring. They don't really have anybody that they've been able to get the ball to score consistently. Fletcham, he leads the Millers, averaging a little under 14 points a contest. Mertens averages 9 points, and Ginther shy of 10. But the Millers come into this game averaging shy of 50 points per contest, and they currently, coming into play tonight, have been giving up almost 53 points per game. So on the negative side in the margin differential, and it's been, so far, kind of a rough year for the Millers as they come into tonight's game, I said, with a record of 7-8. Meanwhile, for Hamilton Southeastern, 13-3, 2-1 in HCC play, and they're coming off of a big win last week against Mount Vernon. Against the Marauders, Hamilton Southeastern won that game 74-67, led by 19 points from senior Zach Gunn. Noah Smith, the sophomore guard, had 16 points. Jack Davidson had 13, but Davidson will not play in tonight's game. Did not give a story on why he would not be in, but he is not playing in tonight's contest. Austin Holtzman will get the start at guard for head coach Brian Satterfield. Last week, it was not a very good night from the three-point line for Hamilton Southeastern. Only 3 of 11, but they more than made up for it at the charity stripe. Hamilton Southeastern went to the line 36 times, converted on 29 of those 36 attempts. hitting 81% in the game from the free throw line, and they did a very good job on the glass, grabbing 28 rebounds. And one of the things that Coach Brian Satterfield has been very pleased with this team all season long is the number of assists. They had 17 assists against the Marauders, and right now Hamilton Southeastern doing a very, very good job averaging over 18 assists per game. A very, very good ratio for the Royals offense, with many of their buckets coming off of assists. Hamilton Southeastern is averaging over 75 points per contest, and that puts them up in some rarefied air. It's one of the leaders actually in the country as they enter play this evening. They are actually 80th in the country in scoring and 11th in the country in scoring per 32. That's how many points they score per 32 minutes. They're 72nd in the country in assists. So they have done a good job of distributing the basketball, and, of course, they're doing a very good job of scoring the basketball. For Hamilton Southeastern, they'll come in tonight, however, giving up a little over 62 points per game, and it has been three-point shooting that has been the bugaboo, at least defending the three for Hamilton Southeastern. But they're going to face a Noblesville team that really not something that they're very, very comfortable or very, very accustomed to doing is shooting the three. They've only attempted 199. Compare that to over 255 for Hamilton Southeastern. And while the Millers are hitting on about a 36%, it's just not a big part of their game. And again, when you're scoring less than 50 points, you're looking for offense pretty much anywhere you can get it. So for Southeastern, they want to come away with a big HCC win here tonight. It is Special Olympics night here at Hamilton Southeastern High School. We've got a good crowd still trying to build in. What a difference 6 days will make, considering that last Saturday when the Royals hosted the Marauders, temperatures were near 70 degrees with sunshine as they made their way down to Hamilton Southeastern High School. Tonight, we've got snow flurries and temperatures in the upper 20s, but it is January in Indiana. So hopefully we'll have a good game for you. It's the only game of the week for the Royals. They will not be playing tomorrow. Do want to let you know that coming up next Saturday, Hamilton Southeastern will be making up that game of Westfield that was postponed a couple of weeks ago. The varsity game will begin at 12:30, tipping off. There will be a JV contest. It will begin at 11 a.m. It will be against Heritage Christian. We'll have both of those games for you here on Audio Sports Online. Again, with the JV game tipping off at 11 in the morning, Saturday, February 4th, with the varsity game scheduled to tip off around 12:30 in the afternoon against Westfield. That was part of a boys-girls doubleheader, and the girls' game has already been made up with Coach Chris Huppenthal's team coming away with the win against Westfield in that contest. So that's our schedule coming up next week. We will be on the road on Thursday night as Hamilton Southeastern is going to make a bit of a road trip next week as they go on Thursday. They will be going down to Columbus to take on Columbus North. That is a game that we'll have here on Audio Sports Online, and hopefully we'll be able to have some video for that. But that is our first trip to Columbus North, so we'll have to see. Before we talk some more about tonight's game, let's have our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
That is the Hamilton Southeastern Pep Band with our national anthem as we get ready for basketball tonight from Hamilton Southeastern High School. Welcome to Royals basketball. I'm Brian Scott. We've been talking about what to expect from this game. For Southeastern, it's simple. They just keep continuing their scoring onslaught, but they will do so without starting guard Jack Davidson. Davidson came into this game averaging 13 points per game and 3 assists per game. And last week against the Marauders, he was perfect from the field. He was 3 of 3 from 2 points, 1 from beyond the arc, and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. But he will not play in tonight's game. Instead, Austin Holtzum will get the start for head coach Brian Satterfield. Also, the Royals, again, defending the three has been a bit of an issue for Coach Brian Satterfield's team. But as I mentioned, coming into tonight's game, that's not something that they really will have to worry about a whole lot from this Noblesville team. They are 72 of 199 from beyond the arc, while Hamilton Southeastern has attempted over 256 three-point baskets coming into tonight's game. The Millers shoot a respectable 36% from beyond the arc, and they're only 68% from the free throw line, however. So Coach McCauley, he's going to have to look for points from wherever he can get them. But the big question for the Millers is, can they stop this Hamilton Southeastern offensive juggernaut at times? And even though Davidson is not in this game, there's still Zach Gunn that the Millers will have to contend with. Connor Rotterman, he had a very slow start last week against the Marauders, but did score in that fourth quarter as he came away with 9 points, including 6 of 6 from the free throw line in the win against the Marauders. Matter of fact, Hamilton Southeastern in that fourth quarter, it was from the free throw line that kept Hamilton Southeastern ahead in that game and eventually allowed them to come away with the win. So while the teams are finishing up their warm-ups, let's go ahead and give you the starting lineups for tonight's game between the Hamilton Southeastern Royals and the Noblesville Millers. The Millers with a record of 7-8, 1-2 in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. The head coach is Brian McCauley, 34-28 in his third year at the helm of the Millers, 164-86 in his 11th year overall. He will start a three-guard lineup. Starting at one guard is a 6-foot senior, Rico Duncan. At the other guard is a 6'1 senior, Max Flincham, their leading scorer. Corby Mertens, a 6'3 senior will be the third guard. At forward is a 6'3 sophomore, Grant Gremmel. And the other forward is a 6'4 senior, Nolan Ginther. So once again, for the Millers, in the backcourt, it'll be Duncan, Mertens, and Flincham. In the front court, Ginther and Gremmel. Those are the starting five for the Noblesville Millers. For the Hamilton Southeastern Royals, they are currently ranked 13th in Class 4A with a record of 13-3, 2-1 in HCC action. The head coach, Brian Satterfield, 252 and 114 in his 16th year at the helm of Hamilton Southeastern. His lineup a little different with no Jack Davidson tonight. He will start at guard, a 6'1 sophomore, Noah Smith. Connor Rotterman will start at the other guard, a 6'1 senior. Getting the start as the third guard is a 6'1 senior, Austin Holtzum. 6'6 sophomore, Aaron Etherington will be at forward, and it will be 6'7 senior, Zach Gunn at the other forward. So once again, the backcourt will be Smith, Rotterman, and Holtzum. The front court will be Etherington and Gunn. Those are the starting five for head coach Brian Satterfield. I mentioned Hamilton Southeastern coming into this game tonight averaging over 75 points. They're also doing a pretty fair job on the glass. They are averaging over 31 rebounds per game, and they're also doing a good job getting their hands into the passing lanes. They have over 7 steals a game while turning the ball over only 12 times per contest. The Royals shooting 39% from the three-point line, but that average has been actually going down. But still, a very, very good free throw shooting team is Hamilton Southeastern, as they are hitting 80% from the charity stripe for the year. So it's been a very good offensive lineup most of the season for Coach Brian Satterfield, but he is without his big gun and senior Jack Davidson, who is averaging 13 points per contest, including those 13 points he had last Saturday against Mount Vernon. As the teams are being introduced, Zach Gunn is leading Hamilton Southeastern, averaging over 21 points per game, 56% from the field, but he's averaging 65% from two-point range, so he's getting a lot of those easy baskets inside, down low. He's also doing a very good job from the free throw line, shooting 84%. So when they have to hack him and get him on the free throw line, he's been converting. He was 11 of 15 from the line against the Marauders last Saturday to go along with his 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and even a block shot. That is not something Hamilton Southeastern has done a lot of this year. Not been a notorious shot blocking team this season. As a matter of fact, only averaging a little under 3 blocks per contest. Not really known to have the big shot blocking, which is one of the reasons I think you see Southeastern become a little bit they're a little bit soft against that 3-point shot. They're trying to help defense down low with the lack of a shot blocker, and that's been leaving some of these 3-point shooters open. But tonight looks like they've got a matchup that is very, very favorable. We're out ready for basketball. Pull up a chair. Hopefully you'll join us and enjoy Southeastern basketball on Audio Sports Online as we get ready to play. The Millers will be in the black with the white numerals with gold trim. Meanwhile, Hamilton Southeastern in the home whites, royal blue numerals and trims. That gun is going to jump center, and he will be doing so as we get ready for action. He will be jumping center against Nolan Ginther. So we're ready for basketball. We hope you are too, and hope you enjoy it tonight on Audio Sports Online. Ball is in the air, and the tip is controlled by Hamilton Southeastern. Etherington got the ball to Roderman. Roderman loses the basketball. He's stripped by Grant Gremmel, and now Noblesville will have the basketball as Southeastern is stripped on their opening possession. This is Grant Gremmel looking against this man-to-man defense currently being employed by Hamilton Southeastern with Duncan sending it out. This is Max Flincham. That's their leading scorer. They'll send it around, driving, and blocked by Gunn is Duncan. And we mentioned Royal's not big on shot blocks, but there's Zach Gunn getting one right off the bat. And now as Aaron Etherington tried to send it out to the wing to Connor Roderman, it's knocked out of bounds by Flincham, and Southeastern will have the basketball. Just underway, we've played a grand total of 40 seconds, and we are scoreless. As looks like the Millers will now drop down into a 2-3 zone as it will be Noah Smith back into the front court to Holtzum. With the basketball, Etherington skipped past over to Smith, who had to jump high, but he brings it down. Roderman back to Etherington. 3-ball on the way. That's off the heel, no good. Coming away with the basketball is Rico Duncan for Noblesville. Duncan into the front court. Again, a man-to-man defense now by Hamilton Southeastern. He'll give it to Flincham. Flincham back to Duncan. They looked like they were trying to post Gremmel, but now he is going to come to the far side and clear out for Duncan, but they'll swing it around. Flincham over into the hands of Corby Mertens. Here's Mertens, a drive and a baseline drive on the little run-handed floater. He gets the bucket. And the first points of the night belong to the Millers. They lead 2-0 with 6:26 left to play in the first quarter. Noblesville back to the 2-3 zone as Holtzum will give it to Noah Smith, who will run the offense as he gets between the circles. They'll set up Roderman now, right side. He'll come baseline. He'll get the ball, and on the curl, he'll pop the three. That's a little long, and Duncan has the rebound for the Millers. He will go right side. They will feed down low, and there's a block shot by Etherington. The shot is no good by Flincham, and 2 block shots already for the Royals as Roderman's shot comes halfway down, rolls around, rolls off the flange, and comes out, but it'll be knocked out of bounds, and Southeastern will have the basketball. 2-0 in favor of Noblesville, 5:49 left to go in this opening quarter, and Austin Holtzum will inbound, and now we've got a whistle as official, and they will finally get the ball into Connor Roderman. 5:47 remaining in quarter number 1. 2-0 in favor of Noblesville. Smith to Roderman, left side. Holtzum thought about the three, kicks it out, back to Smith. Smith Dribble drive, but back out to Holtzum, and they'll swing the ball back around. Roderman sees an opening back to Holtzum. 3-ball on the way, and Austin Holtzum drains a 3 to give the Royals their first points of the game. They lead 3-2. Here's Duncan. He found a hole open up down the lane, but couldn't finish it off with a bucket. Gunn is able to come away with it, and now it's stolen away. 2-on-1 and taking it and having a block, the third block, second by Gunn on Corby Mertens. Here's Noah Smith, double team, finds Gunn, and Gunn lays it in. So Gunn gets 2 blocks and the bucket, and it's one of those things just like when the broadcaster's jinx, except this time now it's working in favor of Hamilton Southeastern. 3 blocks already in this first quarter. They lead by 3 with 4:40 still remaining in the quarter. Here's a pull-up jumper blocked by Noah Smith. So a team that has averaged less than 3 blocks per contest has 4, and we haven't played the first half of the first quarter yet in this ball game, and the ball went out of bounds off of Noblesville, so Southeastern has the basketball up by 3. Roderman over to Holtzum, back to Connor, and they'll reset the offense as Austin will have the basketball, check the bench, and now run the play. Etherington, as they look to attack this 2-3 zone, here's Noah Smith. They lay off of Noah, but they won't lay off of Zach Gunn. The triple team comes. Holtzum over to Roderman. 3 from the corner. That's no good. And coming away with it is Max Flincham for Noblesville. As now we have a whistle and a foul. Zach Gunn and Nolan Ginther got tied up. And we're going to have a double foul called against Zach Gunn and Nolan Ginther. They will call double fouls on this, so each player with a personal, each team with a team foul. And there was some talk earlier involving some of those, so things are a little chippy already, and now the officials are going to talk a little bit about it as Coach Brian Satterfield wants an explanation, believing that Gunn was held by Ginther, but it will be Miller's basketball as inbounding will be Mertens right in front of the Royal bench. They hit a baseline inbounds. Now they'll send it back out to Mertens. Mertens to Gremmel, over to Duncan. 3:50 remains in this opening quarter, and now a whistle and a travel as Duncan tried to pivot around, and he's called for steps. So the turnover gives the ball back to Hamilton Southeastern up by 3 with 3:46 left to go in this first quarter. Noah Smith will get around a Holtzum screen. Now give it back to Austin. He'll get it down to Etherington, back to Austin. 5-2, that's our score. Here's Gunn, long-range 3 on the way, and he buries it. Zach Gunn hits the 3. He has 5, and that now makes it a 6-point lead for Southeastern with 3:18 remaining in the opening quarter. Duncan gets a screen at the top from Ginther, and now a whistle, and they're going to call Connor Roderman for a foul, trying to get back around Ginther as he set the screen as Duncan came the other way. So Roderman with his first team foul number 2 against Hamilton Southeastern, and it'll be Corby Mertens triggering the inbound in the sideline right here in front of us. Still looking, and he will find Nolan Ginther. Ginther back to Duncan, working on Connor Roderman. They'll swing it around and get the ball back to Duncan at the left wing. Austin Holtzum picks up Duncan. And now Duncan terminates his dribble and has to lay it down to Ginther. Ginther sends it out. 3-ball on the way, no good by Flincham. Coming away with a rebound, however, was Gremmel, and the Millers will reset the offense. 2:40 remains in this first quarter. Southeastern leads 8-2. As here's a steal by Aaron Etherington. He will take it and flush it down with 2 hands. And that's going to cause head coach Brian McCauley to call a timeout. A 30-second timeout as The Noblesville Millers scored the first points of the contest, but now have watched Hamilton Southeastern go on a 10-0 run to lead by 8 at 10-2 with 2 minutes and 29 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. I'm Brian Scott. So glad you joined us tonight for Hamilton Southeastern basketball on Audio Sports Online. Big game in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, and at the half, we'll tell you what's happening in the HCC, what the standings are. There's another big game tonight as Zionsville is at Brownsburg. Big HCC title implications in that game. The Royals will still have a game with Brownsburg coming up in February. Millers have the basketball. The Royals are on a 10-0 run, and they now drop in the 2-2-1 press. They'll finally get it into the front court as Ginther has the basketball, finds Duncan. And Hamilton Southeastern will now drop into a 2-3 zone. Here's a three from the corner from Flincham. It's no good. Holtzum with a rebound. One and done from the Millers after the timeout as Noah Smith pulls up the dribble, and Noblesville drops back into a 2-3. Gunn sends it out to Holtzum over to Etherington, and now Noah Smith will pop the three from the top of the key. It rims out and into the hands of Rico Duncan. 10-2, a minute 47 remaining in this opening quarter of play from Hamilton Southeastern High School. Duncan gets a high screen from Grimmel. Couldn't do anything about it. Now we're going to have a whistle, and they're going to call Austin Holtzum on the foul as he fouled Nolan Ginther. It's Austin's first, team's third, and Holtzum will depart, and Chaz Birchfield will enter. Holtzum with 3 points on that long-range three, and Birchfield, who's been playing fairly well of late. He had 5 points and 5 rebounds against the Marauders. He's now in, and now we have a 5-second call as they were unable to get the ball inbounds. Good defense by Southeastern set up on the inbound play, and the turnover gives the ball back to the Royals, who, again, are on a 10-0 run, but both teams struggling to find a little offense here in this opening quarter. But Southeastern leads by 8 at 10-2 with 90 seconds remaining in the quarter. Connor Rotterman to Zach Gunn. Thought about an NBA well beyond NBA 3, but instead gave it up. Here's Noah Smith, right side. Connor Rotterman, ball fake underneath, finds Etherington. Etherington out to Gunn. Gunn, stutter step, takes a shot from the right elbow, was looking for the foul, and it did come while it was a little on the late side, but it will be against Rico Duncan will be the foul, his first, team second, and Zach Gunn at the free throw line. As I mentioned, Zach coming into tonight an 84% free throw shooter. He has 5 points, make it 6 as he hits the free throw. Max Flincham will leave, and it will be Nick Mills coming in to replace him. A minute 10 as Gunn converts both free throws. He has 7 points, and Southeastern is now on a 12-0 run after the Millers scored the first bucket of the game. And now here's a slap out of bounds by Chaz Birchfield as it was Corby Mertens trying to find Mills, but it's knocked out of bounds. Zach Gunn will get a bit of a breather with a minute and 4 seconds left, and into the lineup will be Zach Muchner. Under a minute left to go here in this first quarter. They'll get the ball down low. Mills flashed, but didn't get the pass, and now they'll give it to Duncan. One dribble, gives it up to Mills now. Trap comes, and they'll send it out to the corner to Mertens. Top, Duncan, nice little move, and from the left elbow, Rico Duncan finally snaps the drought with 37 seconds remaining. That kills a 12-0 run for Hamilton Southeastern, but it's still an 8-point lead at 12-4. Etherington over to Noah Smith. Smith finds Connor Rotterman down to Birchfield. Double team comes. Birchfield dribbles out of it with 21 seconds remaining. And Smith looking to set up the final shot of the quarter. 12-4, Hamilton Southeastern with the lead. And Noah now with 10 seconds remaining pounds the basketball as the Royals set up the offense. Etherington finds Birchfield. Birchfield, he goes underneath. He finds Down low, Zach Muchner. Muchner's shot partially blocked, and that's the end of the first quarter. Our score, after 8 minutes of basketball, Hamilton Southeastern uses a 12-0 run, and they end the first quarter with a lead of 12-4. Back with second quarter action after this is Royals basketball on ASO. Brian Scott back with you at Hamilton Southeastern High School with the Royals. They lead the Noblesville Millers by the score of 12-4. The scoreboard currently showing 14-4. We'll see if we can get that corrected, but right now I show that it is being 12-4. So let's see what we've got here when they get things all squared away. But in that first quarter, Zach Gunn scored 7 points. Austin Holston had a 3, and Aaron Etherington had a 2. I did not believe Zach Muchner scored. We'll see what happens here. But right now, the scoreboard reads 14-4 in favor of Hamilton Southeastern. They went on a 12-0 run after the Millers scored the first bucket of the contest. And it wasn't until Rico Duncan was able to snap the drought with under a minute left to go in the first quarter that the Millers were able to score again. And they'll have the basketball to begin the second quarter with Nick Mills, joined by Rico Duncan, Corby Mertens, Nolan Ginther, and Grant Gremmel. Here's a 3. That's long, no good. And the Royals come away with it. It is Connor Rotterman, joined by Nick Bowman, Aaron Etherington, Aaron Shank, and Chaz Birchfield, the 5 on the floor for Coach Brian Satterfield. Bowman, left side, finds Rotterman. Had a wide-open 3, but turned it down. Instead gives it to Shank. Back to Bowman, running the point. Back to Rotterman. Noblesville has pretty much stayed in this 2-3 zone, and they continue to do so. Here's Bowman, baseline drive, lays it up, and gets it in. Nick Bowman with a nice drive. He finishes it off, and right now it is a 16-4 contest. Again, scoreboard showing 16-4. We showed it at 12-4 at the end of the first quarter, but they have added 2 more points. We're going to assume that it was credited then to Zach Muchner, though I didn't think it went in, but we will go with the official scores on that. Meanwhile, Noblesville has the ball. Duncan's cut off, but he will make a nice, nifty spin move. He'll lay it up, but it'll be short. Birchfield with the rebound. He'll give it to Rotterman. Connor loses the basketball briefly, but managed to get it back under control, gives it to Aaron Shank. Over to Chaz Birchfield, back to Connor Rotterman. 6:23 remaining in the first half. Southeastern with a 16-4 lead. I'm Brian Scott, as the Royals being very, very patient with this 2-3 zone by Noblesville. As Bowman now loses the basketball. Mills comes away with it, and we're going to have a timeout called by head coach Brian McCauley, as he will call a 30-second timeout as Bowman briefly lost the basketball. Mills was able to pick it up. And while they were on the floor, head coach Brian McCauley quickly calls a 30-second timeout with 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the first half. Currently, scoreboard reads Southeastern leading Noblesville by the score of 16-4. Noblesville, we mentioned some of their offensive struggles at the top of the broadcast, and Coach McCauley looking basically for anything that he can get offensively because it has been tough going. Out of the timeout for Coach Brian Satterfield, Jack Habiger will come in. He'll join Nick Bowman, Chaz Birchfield, Aaron Shank, and Zach Gunn as the 5 Royals to take the floor. As Nick Mills will join Rico Duncan. Mills will trigger the inbound. Nolan Ginther, Grant Gremmel, and Xavier Hines. Xavier Hines was in the JV game. He committed 3 personal fouls very early, so he didn't have a whole lot of quarters in that JV game, and he's getting some action here in the varsity. He sets a screen for Mills, and we're going to have a 3-second violation as Nolan Ginther didn't clear the lane, and he's called for 3 seconds. So if you're Noblesville, they've had a problem inbounding the basketball. They've now had a 3-second violation, and offense has been hard to come by. Not a good recipe if you're Coach Brian McCauley and the Millers. Hebiger over to Bowman. They'll feed Gunn at the free throw line. Double team comes. Ball still loose. Birchfield has it. Ball is still loose. And finally, Duncan comes away with it for Noblesville. He will give it off to Mills. Mills will miss it by a mile, but there on the backside with the weak side putback is Nolan Ginther. And the Millers have just their 6th point of the contest. They trail by 10 with 5:08 left to go here in the first half. Gun to Hebiger. Hebiger makes a baseline moves, finds Aaron Shank. Shank one dribble, and then a reach-in foul is going to be called against the Millers. I believe Nick Mills, which would be his first, and the 13th foul against Noblesville. Corby Mertens will return to the lineup for Coach Brian McCauley, and his Mills will depart. 0 points and 1 personal foul, and Hebiger will trigger the inbounds from the baseline for the Royals. He will get it down low. Zach Gunn can't make the shot, gets his own rebound, goes strong, puts it up, will not get the bucket, and Coach Brian McCauley looking for an offensive foul will not get the call, and Zach Gunn's going to earn a trip to the free throw line. And the foul's going to go against Nolan Ginther. That'll be his 2nd. 4th team foul, and Zach Gunn, who is 2 of 2 from the free throw line, hitting the only free throws that were attempted in this contest so far, is back at the line again, and he is now 3 of 3. Austin Holtzum coming in, Noah Smith coming in as well, as the 2 starting guards are back in, and Nick Bowman and Chaz Birchfield depart. Ginther will have to leave as we'll check the lineup. Meanwhile, Gunn has converted all 4 of his free throws. He has 9 points. And it's a 12-point advantage for Hamilton Southeastern as Duncan gets it into the front court. Max Flincham is back in for Ginther. And spinning Duncan with a nice move. Left it too high off the glass, but Hines there with a weak side putback as Xavier Hines has his first points. And it's down to a 10-point margin as Southeastern leads 18-8 as we are at 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go first half. Holtzum over to Gunn. Gunn, long-range NBA 3. That's no good. Ball is loose and finally controlled by Hines for the Millers as they backed off Zach. Zach took the long-range NBA 3, but just missed it. And we've played half of the second quarter, and Southeastern leads by 10. Connor Rotterman's going to return, as will Aaron Etherington, and Hebiger and Shank will depart. So the starting 5 are back out on the floor for Coach Brian Satterfield of Smith, Etherington, Rotterman, Gunn, and Holtzum. On the inbounds, they get it down into the corner. This is Flincham with the basketball. Gets around Noah Smith, drives, and there's a block from Smith from behind. Rotterman gets the rebound. He chases it down, sends it left side to Aaron Etherington. Etherington back to Noah Smith from the right elbow. Passes it up, finds Holtzum in the corner. His 3 is way off, and as Gunn goes up for the almost pass, he's going to be held and fouled. And the foul's going to go against Xavier Hines. That's his first, and the 15th foul against the Millers as the foul occurred on the floor. Connor Rotterman will trigger the inbound from the baseline with Southeastern up by 10 with 3:41 left to go in the half. Rotterman looks, finds Holtzum, and Austin will dump it down to Aaron Etherington. Poked away, but there's Holtzum to pick up the loose ball. Etherington lobs it into Gunn. Nice save by Rotterman, but he saves it into the hands of Max Flincham. Pass was intended for Zach Gunn. Here is Flincham, who will stop and pop the quick three. No good. Etherington with a rebound. 3-on-2. They find Connor Rotterman. Rotterman takes it to the bucket, and he takes it to the rim and gets the bucket. Rotterman with his first points. It's now a 12-point advantage for Southeastern as they lead Noblesville 20-8 with 3:04 left to play in the first half. Rico Duncan sends it left side to Hines. Over to Gremmel. Down into the corner, back to Duncan. He tries to spin on Noah Smith, and Smith is going to be hit with a reach-in here. For Noah, his first personal 14th foul against Hamilton Southeastern. Max Flincham will depart as Nick Mills returns for the Millers, and they will inbound from the baseline. Southeastern with a 12-point lead. They get the ball into Hines, back right side. Here's a nice drive. Mertens blocked from behind by Holtzum into the hands of Etherington. Austin with it, left side, gives it to Zach Gunn. Gunn back to Holtzum. Three from the corner on its way. That's long. Into the hands of Etherington. His putback no good. And as Gunn goes for the rebound, let's see who this is going to be called on. Gunn went up. He got undercut by Mills, and the foul's going to go against the Millers, Nick Mills. That's his second, team sixth. So the next foul against the Millers, well, they'll call it the seventh team foul, so 1-1 now in effect. And Gunn at the line where he is 4-4 from the free throw line, and the 1-1 in effect. Zach hits the first, he'll get the bonus. He is now 5 of 5 from the free throw line, and now in double figures with 10 points. 21-8 is our score. 2:35 left to go first half. Gunn's second free throw is good. He is now 6 of 6, and he has 11 points. 22-8. 2:30 left to go in the first half as the Millers really struggling to find any offense. Here's Hines. Pull-up jumper is good in front of the three-point line. Xavier Hines now has 4 points, and off the bench, he leads all Millers. Etherington down to Holtzum, finds Gunn, cutting through the lane, and Gunn finishes it off. Good ball movement from Hamilton Southeastern. They stretch the lead to 14 at 24-10 as we approach 2 minutes, and now kick ball as Duncan was trying to get it over to Mertens, and Holtzum was hit with a kick ball. Substitutions as Duncan leaves. Trevor Conwell will come in for Coach Brian McCauley. 2 minutes left to play first half. Southeastern leads by 14 as they try to trap. They get Mills in the corner, and Mills will have a reach-in foul called against Connor Rotterman, I believe. That's his second, 15 foul, and it will be Corby Mertens triggering the inbound in front of the scorers table where he will find Nick Mills. 24-10, 1:50 left to go in the first half. Stay tuned at the half. We'll take a look around the Hoosier Crossroads Conference and let you know what the stats were for the first half. As for the Millers, it will not take very long. 10 points as we have played almost 14 minutes and 14 and a half minutes of basketball. This is Conwell with the basketball. He'll back it out with 1:20 left. Now nowhere to give, but he finds cutting on a nice baseline cut there was Mertens. It was a great find, but a better steal from Gunn. He outlets to Aaron Etherington. Etherington finishes it with a flush, and then I believe he's going to be hit with a technical. Etherington is going to be hit with the technical for hanging on the rim, so it's a technical foul. At the other end, Corby Mertens will shoot the technicals. So it's a technical foul. It's also a personal foul as Mertens will convert both free throws. It's the first free throw attempts for Noblesville in tonight's game. That technical foul was also the 16th foul. And now the Millers will also have the basketball. So A big flush from Aaron Etherington, but he's also hit with the technical, hanging on the rim. And it is now a 26-12 game after the 2 free throws as Chaz Birchfield back in. He's going to slap at Rico Duncan as he's in the lane. And it's the 17th foul against Hamilton Southeastern. So Duncan will be at the line for the free throws. One and one in effect. Duncan at the line. Duncan, a 79% free throw shooter on the season. He makes the first. He'll get the bonus. A minute 3 left to go in this first half. Southeastern leads 26-13. It can make it a 12-point deficit with a made free throw, which he will miss. But the ball comes out to Aaron Etherington. He gets it. Then it is Rico Duncan that slaps it off and punches the ball off of Aaron Etherington to preserve the possession for the Millers with 60 seconds remaining in this first half. The Millers will have the basketball trailing 26-13. And Rico Duncan will get the ball in the backcourt and walk it up. Duncan gets a screen. Now we'll give it up to Gremmel. Gremmel will make a move on Birchfield. Birchfield's going to be hit with his second personal, but with the bonus in effect, it's going to send Grant Gremmel to the line for the 1-and-1, where Gremmel this season is only a 52% free throw shooter. Birchfield will leave. Aaron Shank will come in for Hamilton Southeastern. Gremmel does hit, so the 53% free throw shooter hits his first free throw. He'll get the bonus. So far this in the game, the Millers are 5 for 5, and that one goes halfway down and comes back out on Gremmel. A 12-point lead for Hamilton Southeastern with under 42 seconds remaining to play in the first half. Royals will likely play for the final shot of the quarter unless they get a really, really good open look. Under 30 seconds remain as Gunn content to just throw it around. Shank, right side to Noah Smith, over to Gunn. As we hit 20 seconds remaining to go in the quarter. Noah Smith drives, sees an opening, and he'll take it to the cup and hit finish. Noah Smith with his first points. Makes it a 28-14 game. 7 seconds remain, 6, 5, and Rico Duncan will lose it on a move. He had it go off of a Royal, and with 3.9 seconds remaining, the Millers were inbound from the baseline, and it will be Max Flincham, who is their leading scorer but has been held scoreless in this game. 2 seconds. Here's a long-range three. It's up. It is good by Corby Mertens at the buzzer. And that will cut the deficit to 11 as the teams head to the locker room. Hamilton Southeastern and Noblesville. Very low scoring first half, but the Royals head to the locker room with an 11-point lead. They lead Noblesville 28-17. Hang in there. We're going to take a timeout, calculate some stats, and then tell you what's happening in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference as play begins tonight right here as it's Hamilton Southeastern basketball on Audio Sports Online. Halftime at Hamilton Southeastern High School, and the Royals lead the Millers of Noblesville by the score 28-17. I'm Brian Scott. Thanks for joining us tonight for Royals basketball on ASO on Special Olympics night. They're having a scrimmage right now, and kids are having a whole lot of fun, and they are showing some of their best moves out here and seeing some pretty good shooting at times as well. So crowd's getting into it. The kids are getting into it. It's a great sight here at Hamilton Southeastern. Our score at the half, Hamilton Southeastern leads Noblesville by the score of 28-17. We'll be taking a look at some of the halftime statistics here in just a few minutes. But first off, we want to take a look at what's happening around the Hoosier Crossroads Conference as play begins tonight. As we take a look at what happened last week in the HCC, of course, last Friday, the Zionsville Eagles managed to beat Hamilton Southeastern in overtime on Riley Burcham's three-point buzzer beater, 73-72 last Friday. And then Southeastern bounced back on Saturday to beat Mount Vernon 74-67. Other action last Friday saw Avon beat Fisher 72-64. Brownsburg beat Westfield 60-46. And Noblesville beat Frankfort 56-55. Action last Saturday, Brownsburg fell to Carmel. They were blown out 76-39. Logansport, I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, beat Noblesville 58-51, and Tri-West beat Westfield 74-69. Action earlier this week, Brownsburg, they beat Fishers 48-37, and I mentioned Zionsville, after having that big win against Hamilton Southeastern last Friday, they fell to Pike on Tuesday by the score of 67-59. On Wednesday, the Tigers fell to Lawrence Central by the score of 57-49. Action tonight, Westfield is at Avon, and of course the big matchup in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, which I'll get to, the reason being here in just a few moments. Zionsville defeated Brownsburg. Tomorrow, Avon will be at Center Grove. Lawrence North will be at Fishers. Lebanon is at Westfield. The Bulldogs of Brownsburg will host Terre Haute South, and Zionsville is on the road at Homestead. Hamilton Southeastern will have Saturday off. They won't have another game until Thursday when they travel down to Columbus North. That is the game we will have here on Audio Sports Online. If at all possible, we will have video for you. This is our first trip down to Columbus North, so we'll have to see what the internet situation is down there, but if at all possible, we will have video for you for that contest. And as I mentioned earlier, the makeup game for the Westfield game that was postponed a couple of weeks ago on this Friday due to weather, that will be made up next Saturday. It'll be made up at 12:30 in the afternoon. The JV will be in action. They will play Heritage Christian. The JV game will tip off at 11 o'clock with the varsity game set to tip off at 12:30 as the Royals take on the Westfield Shamrocks. As we take a look at the Hoosier Crossroads Conference standings coming in to tonight, two teams tied at the top of the conference with 3-0 records, and it's the two teams that are playing each other tonight. Brownsburg and Zionsville are at the top of the standings. Brownsburg 10-3 on the season, while Zionsville is now 10-4. Southeastern currently in second place with a record of 2-1, 13-3 on the year. Southeastern does have a game with Brownsburg left, so the hope is that Brownsburg will beat Zionsville tonight, and then Southeastern, when they make their trip to Brownsburg, will have a chance to beat Brownsburg, and we might see maybe a three-way tie at the top of the HCC standings. Noblesville is 1-2 on the season as in HCC play, as is Avon. Noblesville 7-8 in the regular season. Avon is 5-8. Fisher's 1-3 in the HCC, 6-9 overall. But the Tigers have lost their last three contests. Same for Westfield. They've lost their last three. They are winless in HCC play and 3-9 in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. As we mentioned, next week, big games with Avon at Zionsville, Brownsburg at Noblesville, and Fishers at Westfield on Thursday. And then on Saturday, Ben Davis will be at Avon. Mount Vernon is at Noblesville. Zionsville is at Decatur Central. And Westfield is at Hamilton Southeastern. Many of those games are makeups from a couple of weeks ago. So many of those games are going to be afternoon games. And like I said, we'll be with you here from Hamilton Southeastern High School as the Royals take on Heritage Christian in the JV game at 11 o'clock. and Westfield in the varsity game at 12:30. Our score at the break is Hamilton Southeastern leading Noblesville 28-17. Offense, well, it's been very hard to come by for the Millers, though they managed to finally find some scoring there late in that second quarter to make it somewhat respectable. They scored the first points of the contest to begin the game, but then watched Hamilton Southeastern go on a 12-0 run and finish with a 14-4 first quarter lead. Southeastern also scored 14 points in that second quarter, and for a while there, this game looked like it was going to quickly get out of reach, but Noblesville managed to get some scoring from the free throw line and hit a big three by Corby Mertens and a couple of big baskets from Xavier Hines off the bench to help spark them in that second quarter, but they still find themselves trailing by double digits at 11 at 28-17. Let's give you some particulars for the first half. Corby Mertens is leading the Millers with 7 points. He's also 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He does have 1 3-point basket. 4 points from Xavier Hines, 3 points from Rico Duncan, 2 points from Nolan Ginther. Grant Gremmel has 1 point. Trevor Conwell, Nick Mills, and Max Flincham here, their leading scorer, all scoreless. The Millers are 4 of 6 from the free throw line. That kind of helps spark them in that second quarter. They've hit 1 3-point basket. For Hamilton Southeastern, they are led by Zach Gunn, who has 13 points and a perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line. They've gotten 4 points out of Aaron Etherington, 3 points from Austin Holtzum, 2 points from Nick Bowman, Connor Rotterman, Noah Smith, and I believe Zach Muchner was credited with a basket. Jack Habigger, Chaz Birchfield, and Aaron Shank played. They did not score. The Royals are perfect from the free throw line tonight, a perfect 6 for 6. And as I mentioned, their free throw shooting has gotten better as the season has progressed. They came in tonight shooting 80% from the free throw line. That's only going to go up. Southeastern also was credited with 2 3-point baskets in that first half, and they lead the Millers by the score of 28-17. Of course, the big news tonight is starting guard Jack Davidson is not playing tonight. He is not dressed either. Did not get an explanation of why he wasn't going to be in the game, but he is not playing tonight. Davidson was averaging 13 points and 3 assists per contest, and was also shooting 57% from beyond the three-point line and 94% from the charity stripe. And in the game against the Marauders last Saturday, every shot he put up, whether it was from the field, from beyond the arc, or from the charity stripe, he made. But he's out tonight, and right now the Royals, they've had a little bit of an issue scoring some points, but they do lead Noblesville by the score of 28-17 as we're getting ready for second half action. It will be Austin Holtzum, Aaron Etherington, Connor Rotterman, Zach Gunn, and Noah Smith to start the second half. That was the starting 5 for Coach Brian Satterfield to begin the game. And as the Millers break their huddle, we'll see that I believe it is going to be Rico Duncan, Corby Mertens, Max Flincham, Nolan Ginther, and Grant Gremmel, their starting 5 that will head out on the court, and it is. Of course, the big news, their leading scorer, Max Flincham, who was averaging just shy of 14 points per game. He was held scoreless in that first half. So the Royals will have the basketball to begin quarter number 3 as we are underway from Hamilton Southeastern High School with the Royals up by 11. As Smith gives it to Rotterman. Rotterman tried to feed it and force it to Gunn, but it's poked away, and the Millers have the steal. And it'll be Flincham that'll bring it in, but he will give it up to Rico Duncan, who had 3 points in that first half. They will send it out. Duncan will drive, try to get around Zach Gunn. He will throw up a prayer and be answered. Didn't look like he had much of a chance, but he made that shot. Coach Brian McCauley arguing that for the foul, but did not get the call. And it is now a single-digit deficit at 9, at 28-19 after that bucket. Here's Smith. One dribble, he tries to force it to Aaron Etherington and goes out of bounds. So 2 possessions, 2 turnovers for Hamilton Southeastern, both on forced passes. And the Millers will have the basketball, trailing by 9 and looking to chew into that lead just a little bit more. Duncan will get it across the timeline. We've played a minute of this third quarter, and the Millers have cut it to 9, looking to make it less, and that layup is no good, left well short by Corby Mertens, and the Royals have the ball. They'll go the other way. 3 ball from the left wing. That's no good. Holtzum fights for it. It falls into the hands of Noah Smith, but his layup's no good, and Nolan Ginther corrals the rebound, and now Austin Holtzum's going to be hit with a kick ball as Ginther was going to try to get it over to Rico Duncan, and Austin hit it with the kick ball, and it'll remain in the hands of Noblesville, trailing by 9, 28-19, as there is 6 minutes and 35 seconds left to go, and now we're going to have a foul called on the inbounds. And Connor Rodeman is going to be hit with a foul. That's his third. First team foul for Southeastern in the second half. And now Zach Gunn pokes it away as they try to inbound the ball to Nolan Ginther. So Southeastern being very aggressive, trying to get their hands into the passing lanes and knock the ball away. And the Millers will try it again with a full court press implied. Here comes the trap on Duncan, and he will slip and fall. No traveling call. That's what Brian Satterfield's upset with, as Duncan slid about a foot or two, but no traveling called. And the explanation is he didn't have control of the basketball. Duncan he'll go right side to Mertens. Mertens, they're looking to get it into Ginther, but he's being held by Noah Smith. He finally gets the ball. His shot rolls off the back of the flange and into the hands of Zach Gunn, and the Royals bring it the other way. Here's the 3-ball on the way from Roderman. Shot no good, and fighting for the rebound on the weak side was Zach Gunn and Aaron Etherington, and it goes off of one of the two Royals, and it will belong to Noblesville. Hamilton Southeastern scoreless here in this third quarter, but Noblesville has only managed 2 points, and they've cut it from an 11-point halftime deficit to 9. 5:47 remains in this third quarter. Ginther gets around Gunn, goes to the cup, and blocked from behind by Zach Gunn. Smith out to Roderman. Roderman lobs it into Etherington to Zach Gunn, and Gunn finishes it off. 15 points for Zach Gunn, and now the ball is stolen away. Here's Noah Smith to Etherington, and Etherington is going to lodge the ball between the rim and the backboard, and it'll go to Noblesville. Brian Satterfield looking for a foul on the drive, will not get it. And no, they will get it. They did get the foul called, and it's going to be a 2-shot foul, so they will call the foul against Corby Mertens. And it's going to send Aaron Etherington to the line, where he is a 76% free throw shooter on the season. He has 4 first-half points. And he hits the first free throw. And again, Hamilton Southeastern now perfect from the free throw line in this contest, 7-7. Etherington with 1 more free throw. And he will sink them both. He has 6 points, and it's a 32-19 lead for Southeastern as they've now gone on a quick 4-0 run. Millers finally get it into the front court as Duncan goes right side. They get it to Flincham. His shot partially blocked by Noah Smith. Here's Smith. He finds Etherington. Etherington, 1 dribble, throws it up. No good. Rebound will go out of bounds and belong to Hamilton Southeastern. We kind of talked at the top of the game that block shots, not one of the specialties for Hamilton Southeastern this season. However, unofficially, I have them with 7 block shots already. Max Flincham, he's going to depart. He has been a non-factor for Coach Brian McCauley in this contest, and he's their leading scorer. Etherington finds Roderman, his runner in the lane. That's a little strong, and Ginther has the rebound. He'll give it to Rico Duncan. 4:47 left to go in the third quarter. Southeastern leads 32-19 as they quickly run off 4 points. Millers, like they started the basketball game, they got the first bucket of the second half, but have been held scoreless since. Xavier Hines now in, and Zach Gunn reached in, tried to slam the ball off of Grant Grimmel's foot out of bounds, but they say when Zach touched the basketball, he was already out of bounds, so it will stay in the hands of the Millers in the front court, and it'll be Mertens triggering the inbound right in front of the Millers bench. He'll throw it in the back court to Rico Duncan, who quickly into the front court, stops, turns, spins, leaves it short. Gunn tips it out and into the hands of Connor Roderman. Roderman leaves it for Holsom. 3 on the way. That's no good. And it is Gremmel controlling the rebound. We remain at 32-19 is our score as we approach the midway point of the third quarter. Xavier Hines, he has his pocket picked by Noah Smith, and Noah will finish it. Noah Smith picked Hines' pocket clean and finishes it with the bucket as the Royals are now on a 6-0 run, and there's Smith once again, this time against Rico Duncan. And Coach Brian McCauley says, let's stop and talk about what we're doing, and he's going to call a full timeout. He's used both of his 30 seconds already, so with 3:44 remaining in the third quarter, Southeastern not having one of their better offensive outputs of the season, but they still lead the Millers handily 34-19 with 3:44 remaining in this third quarter of play. I'm Brian Scott. Thanks for joining us for Royals basketball on Audio Sports Online. Special Olympics night here at Hamilton Southeastern High School. They have done an outstanding job, and it was a really fun scrimmage that was put on between the halves of both the JV and the varsity game. And not quite as big of a crowd as we were kind of really expecting tonight, but of course has been a little bit of snow outside. We haven't seen a whole lot of snow this year in central Indiana, and some areas the roads still might be a little slick, so not as big of a crowd. So if you couldn't make it out, we hope you tuned in to Audio Sports Online, and don't forget you can always relive any of our Hamilton Southeastern broadcasts all season long on audiosportsonline.net. Out of the timeout for the Royals, Brian Satterfield with a couple of substitutions. Nick Bowman in, Jerron Bond also now making an appearance for Southeastern. They'll join Aaron Etherington, Zach Gunn, and Noah Smith. And for the Millers, it'll be Corby Mertens. This is Nolan Ginther with the basketball into the front court. It is Rico Duncan almost losing his balance. Xavier Hines. As Ginther drives, he will put it up and he will get the bucket. Nolan Ginther now has 4 points, but it's a 13-point lead for Hamilton Southeastern as they find Zach Gunn. Back to Noah Smith. Miller's back to the 2-3 zone. Etherington, he finds Gunn underneath. Gunn, one dribble out to Etherington. 3 ball on the way. That one's just rims out, and Bowman a little early with his jump on the weak side rebound attempt. Can't get a hold of the orange, and the Millers have the basketball, trailing by 13 with under 3 left to go in the third. Left side, this is Grant Gremmel. Gremmel up top to Mertens. Right side to Duncan. Duncan around Ginther's screen, back to Duncan. They're trying to post up Gremmel against Nick Bowman, but they'll swing it around to Hines. Back to Duncan between the circles. He'll work on Jerron Bond. Pull up, that's a 2. Shot no good. Etherington with a rebound. He outlets to Jerron Bond. Bond is his pocket picked from behind by Grant Gremmel, and they'll say it was knocked off of Jerron, and the ball will remain in the hands of Noblesville. Max Flincham back in as Rico Duncan departs. Again, Flincham, their leading scorer. He is scoreless tonight, and he has really been frustrated out there. As Mertens brings it into the front court, and he has his pocket picked. Etherington will find Jerron Bond. Bond has it poked away from behind, but we're going to have a whistle and a foul called against. Well, let's see who they call against. They will call against Xavier Hines. That's his second, team's second. Very relatively foul-free second half. Only the second team foul against the Millers, and the Royals only have 1. Here's Bond on a baseline drive, and we're going to have a whistle. And we're going to have an offensive foul called against Jaron Bond. That's his first, second team foul. So 2 minutes, 6 seconds remain in this third quarter. Southeastern still with a 13-point lead, 34-21. But again, points have been hard to come by almost for both teams here in this contest. Here is Hines. He'll drive, send it left side. Mertens in the corner, but by the time he got the basketball, Nick Bowman did a good job closing out. Now Mertens makes a move. Right-hand runner, no good, but a whistle and a foul, and I believe it's going to go against Nick Bowman. Bowman will be hit with a personal foul, and Mertens is at the line where he is a 67% free throw shooter. First free throw is up. It is good. Etherington will depart. Chaz Birchfield now in for Coach Brian Satterfield, 34-22 after the free throw, and Mertens will have one more on the way. That one hits front iron, comes out. Hines there for the rebound and the putback. So it turns into a three-point swing as Xavier Hines gets the bucket, and it's now a 10-point advantage for Southeastern, 34-24 with a minute 35 left to go in this third quarter. They swing it to Birchfield. Double team comes, sends it out to Bowman. Bowman free throw line to Bond. Ball fake, loses it, and Hines has it. 3-on-2. Hines takes it, tries to go behind his back, and he just has it stolen away by Nick Bowman. Here's Chaz Birchfield. Pull-up jumper on the way. That's too strong. Bond with a rebound. He will come back weak side and lay it up and in. Jaron Bond gets the bucket. Nick Bowman started that off by just picking Xavier Hines clean, stealing it right out of his hands, and the lead is 12 with under a minute left to go in the third. Here's Flincham. He is scoreless, but he'll give it to Hines. 36-24, third quarter. That's our score. Flincham to Ginther. And driving is Mertens, and he will lay it up and in as he got around the defender, made a baseline drive. And Nolan Ginther now has 6 points, and we have a timeout called by head coach Brian McCauley, and that's going to leave him with only one remaining, and there's still 42.2 seconds remaining in this third quarter. We'll see how that factors, but Noblesville down to only one timeout remaining, and they still have 8 minutes and 42 seconds of basketball still to play, and they are down only by 10. So he elects to call a timeout after Ginther's bucket, and we'll see what they can draw up here. Neither team in any serious foul problems. Connor Roderman does have 3 personals for Hamilton Southeastern, and he is the only player that has 3 personals in the game. Currently leading scorer is Zach Gunn with 15 points. So we'll see what they elect to do out of the timeout. The Millers only have a full timeout remaining in this contest, while Brian Satterfield has a full complement of timeouts at his discretion. It'll be Austin Holsom, Noah Smith, Nick Bowman, Chaz Birchfield, and Zach Gunn on the court for Brian Satterfield with 42.2 seconds remaining in the third, and Southeastern up by 10, 36-26. Holsom to Smith as they do a bit of a 2-3 zone. They're trying to trap on the if they can get it into a corner. But now they're going to sag off and make sure they account for Zach Gunn, because Grant Gremmel was trying to come up and help trap near the sideline, but Zach started sneaking back to the baseline side. 10 seconds remain. Down to 8. Bowman, ball fake, finds Noah Smith, left side. Holsom, down to 3, down to 2. Smith will put up the shot and drill the 3. Noah Smith drills the 3 as the clock hits 0. And we'll head to the fourth quarter with the Hamilton Southeastern Royals leading the Noblesville Millers by the score of 39-26. Fourth quarter action coming up. This is Royals basketball on ASO. Back at Hamilton Southeastern High School, this is Brian Scott. We're ready to get the fourth quarter underway with Hamilton Southeastern leading Noblesville 39-26, a rather low-scoring affair. Of course, Hamilton Southeastern without senior guard Jack Davidson for this contest, and points has been rather hard to come by for both teams. Southeastern right now currently being held well under their season average of 75 points per game. Noblesville was only averaging just under 50 points per game. So there's also under their averages. They have the ball to begin the fourth quarter, and we'll set the lineups in a second. As this is Corby Mertens, he gets it in the hands of Nolan Ginther. Ginther makes a move, puts it up, and he gets it past Aaron Shank. And Ginther, he leads. He's tied for the Miller lead with 8 with Corby Mertens. For Hamilton Southeastern, it's Austin Holtzum, Nick Bowman, Connor Rotterman, Aaron Shank, and Chaz Birchfield. Those are the 5 for Brian Satterfield to begin the fourth quarter. And it's Holtzum getting the start in this game for Jack Davidson. Meanwhile, it is Rico Duncan, Max Flincham, Corby Mertens, Nolan Ginther, and Grant Gremmel, the 5 out there for head coach Brian McCauley's Millers. As that ball poked away, and finally Aaron Shank comes away with it. He finds Bowman. Bowman for 3, nailed it. Royals a little fortunate there that they were able to get the loose ball. They got it out to a wide open Nick Bowman, and Bowman popped the 3, and the lead's 42-28. Now Birchfield is going to be called for the foul. That'll be Chaz's 3rd, 4th team foul against Hamilton Southeastern. And Mertens will inbound right in front of the scorer's table and get it out to Rico Duncan. 42-28, that's the score. We're about a minute and a half in, and now here's a steal. Bowman takes it, lays it up, and lays it in. Bowman with 7 points, and it's become a 16-point advantage for Hamilton Southeastern, 44-28, as we go the other way, and Corby Mertens will finish it off and get the layup. He's now the first Miller to score in double figures with 10 points. I should say it was a 16-point advantage, now down to 14, 44-30, as we play 2 minutes here in the fourth quarter. Connor Rotterman right now running the point, goes left side to Nick Bowman, bounce pass to Aaron Shank. Shank back to Bowman. Bowman, a dribble drive, sends it out. Rotterman will launch the 3. That's no good. Bowman tried to sky, didn't get the rebound, but Chaz Birchfield is there. And Birchfield has his first points of the game to put it back to a 16-point advantage. Duncan into the front court. Looks for somebody, tries to get it down low, finds Nolan Ginther, and Ginther finishes it off. Ginther now also in double figures in scoring for the Millers with 10 points, but it's still a 14-point lead for Hamilton Southeastern. They try to get it down to Aaron Shank. Ginther knocked it out of bounds, and they will keep it in the hands of Southeastern. Zach Gunn will return. He'll take over for Chaz Birchfield, while Rico Duncan and Grant Gremmel will depart. And in their place will be Xavier Hines and Nick Mills. Here's Bowman, gives it to Rotterman. Rotterman down low to Duncan, Gunn. We'll get it right here, but Bowman's going to launch the 3, and Nick Bowman just hit his second three-point basket. He has 10 points, 8 of them coming here within the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, and the lead's now 49-32 for Southeastern. 10 points already in the quarter for Southeastern. And now here's a steal. Gunn gives it to Rotterman. Rotterman will just simply lay it up and in. And things quickly jumping out in front for Hamilton Southeastern as it's now a 19-point advantage. Turnaround jumper, that's up and good. Both teams now starting to find a little offense that has been missing for much of this game. But Southeastern is able to keep the lead. They lead 51-34. A couple of big threes by Nick Bowman here in this quarter. As Bowman finds Shank from the right elbow, he'll pop the jumper halfway down, comes back out, And Connor Rotterman will have a whistle underneath. Officials talking about Zach Gunn and Nolan Ginther as they separate him. And Ginther, who's been a little chippy tonight, and he will be also hit with a personal foul, which will be his third. Correction, they'll say his fourth. It is the third team foul. Aaron Etherington will come in, and now Ginther will depart, and Grant Gremmel will come in. So Coach Brian McCauley is going to sit his big man, because he has 4 personals, and also let him cool down. He has 8 points. Meanwhile, on the inbound, Aaron Etherington on a nice find from Austin Holtzman. Etherington has 8 points. Had to watch hanging, and now we're going to have a whistle. Bowman's going to be called for the foul. Etherington has already been teed up once for hanging on the rim. This time there was a player underneath, so no technical, but the foul will be against Nick Bowman. His first, team foul number 5. And Noah Smith will come in. He will take over for Bowman. Bowman, 8 points here in this fourth quarter. He came off with some big threes to help the Royals here in this fourth quarter. Meanwhile, here's Hines behind the back pass and got the layup. Nifty move by Xavier Hines. He has 8 points. And it's a 53-36 lead for Southeastern with 3:41 remaining. Etherington finds Gunn. He'll throw it high off the glass. Shot no good. Poked around. Ball comes down in the hands of Zach. He's blocked from behind. Gets the loose ball. And finally, some good hustle by Zach Gunn. He stays with it. He gets the bucket. He now has 17 points. (55-36). That is our score as we have 3 minutes and 7 seconds. And as Gremmel goes up, he's going to be fouled on his way to the hoop. And it'll be Connor Rotterman that'll be hit with a foul. And that will be Connor's 4th. It's the 16th foul against Southeastern, and that's going to send it's Corby Mertens at the line. He hits the first. He'll get the second. Mills and Gremmel will depart as Rico Duncan will return, as will Max Flincham. Meanwhile, Rotterman will stay out there with 4 personal fouls as Merton hits both free throws. He now has 14 points. The lead's 55-38 as we have hit 3 minutes left to go. Gunn. He'll send it out top to Rotterman, back to Zach, back to Rotterman. Connor, bounce pass over to Noah Smith as we had 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the game. 55-38. Royals with the lead. They go for the steal. Noah Smith will take it and simply lay it up on a nifty baseline move, and Smith finishes with the bucket. He now has 9 points. It's back to a 19-point lead for Hamilton Southeastern at 57-38. Miller's got some offense early in this quarter, but it was matched by Southeastern. And there's a block by Zach Gunn, but into the hands of Xavier Hines, and Hines gets the bucket. And Coach Brian McCauley is going to call his final timeout with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. And Southeastern up by 17. 57-40. So the final timeout called by the Millers in this contest. And they trail by 17. They trailed by 13 at the end of 3 quarters, and they trail by 11 at the half. They got it to within single digits early in the fourth quarter, but then Southeastern, behind Nick Bowman's sharp shooting behind the arc, help launch the Royals here in this fourth quarter. And the Royals have 18 points so far in this quarter. That matches that they have so far scored more points in a little under 6 minutes of this quarter than they've scored in any quarter so far in this game. But the same could be said for Noblesville. They have 14 points in this fourth quarter, and the most they've scored in any quarter tonight was 13 in the second. So both teams had some troubles finding some offense, but showing some life here in the fourth quarter. But for Noblesville, it might be too little too late as they find themselves trailing by 17 with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining, and the Royals have the basketball. Out of the timeout, Aaron Etherington, Connor Rotterman, Jaron Bond. This is Jack Habiger with the basketball, and the ball is, we're going to have a foul as Habiger was trying to send it left side to Zach Muchner. And Nolan Ginther is going to be hit with a foul. That's his fifth. He has fouled out. Ginther leaves with 10 points. And now we have another foul, as Rico Duncan's going to be called holding on the inbound play. So things really falling apart right now for Noblesville rather quickly. As Connor Rotterman has the basketball. And we'll have another foul as Grant Gremmel will be hit with a foul, and it might be Brian McCauley's intention to get the Royals into the bonus quickly and see if they can get some points and save some time off the clock, as that is both teams now in 6 team fouls. We're under 2 minutes, a minute 50 left, 17-point lead. Here's Aaron Etherington, sends it out to Rotterman. Rotterman thought about 3 and said send it out, and the Royals will simply eat clock. Here's Jaron Bond. He will drive, leave it long. Zach Muchner trying to get a weak side rebound, but it goes out of bounds. And the ball will belong to Noblesville. Minute 37 remains. Actually, Muchner was called for a foul, so it's the 17th foul, and we'll go to the other end of the court where the 1-and-1 is in effect. Aaron Shank will come in for Aaron Etherington. Meanwhile, Corby Mertens, who's really been the Miller's best player here tonight. Xavier Hines has done a good job off the bench. 1-and-1 in effect. That free throw no good, and the rebound controlled by Muchner. And now a timeout called by Brian Satterfield. He's going to get the big 7'1" freshman Mabor Majak into the game. And it's a 30-second timeout called by Brian Satterfield. So going to make a few substitutions, and the big 7'1" center Mabor Majak will get into the game. He has not seen a lot of action at the varsity level. We saw him at Warren Central be used on a couple of inbounds plays, and now we're going to see Coach Brian McCauley also begin to clear out their bench with a minute 26 left to go. Here's Bond to Habiger. Habiger left side to Shank. Shank wants to get it to Majak. Muchner finds Bond. Bond will launch the three. That one's short. Muchner with a rebound. The putback no good. Bond there. And Jerron Bond gets the bucket. And it's back to a 19-point advantage with 62 seconds remaining. So Southeastern has a nice little running floater by Corby Mertens is no good, but he's going to go to the line as Jaron Bond will be hit with his second personal, 8th team foul, and Merton at the line with a pair. It's a big game for Southeastern. They will keep alive in the HCC title race as Mertens misses the free throw. For those wondering, Jack Davidson is not dressed. He is on the Southeastern bench in warm-ups. Second free throw is good. As Mills will come in, Mertens is going to leave, and he's going to get a good hand from his coach, Brian McCauley. He played a very good game, but just not enough offense for the Millers tonight as Habiger gets it into Shank. Shank over to Bond. 51 seconds remaining as the Royals try to play a little keep away here. Bond tried to force it into Muchner, but he poked away, and Grant Gremmel comes away with it, and then it's poked out of bounds by Bond as Gremmel was trying to get it over to Trevor Conwell, who's now in the game, along with Nick Mills, Xavier Hines, Grant Gremmel, and the ubiquitous, not in our program and lineup, number 50. And number 50 has the ball. A pair of 50s actually matched up as Mabor Majak is 7-1, but this one's stolen away. Habiger finds Aaron Shank, and Shank will finish off the break. Aaron Shank gets himself into the scorers column. It's a 20-point lead, 61-41, and we're under 13 seconds left to play. And now poked away as Muchner denies the pass to Gremmel with 9.7 seconds remaining. 61-41 our score. They are looking, and they finally get it to Hines. Hines with the right elbow sends it out to Gremmel. This is Conwell in the lane, has it blocked by Muchner, throws it up into the hands of Mabor Majak. And that's the ball game. Our final score, Hamilton Southeastern defeats Noblesville by the score of 61-41. We'll be back with some final stats in just a moment. This is Royals basketball on ASO. Welcome back to Hamilton Southeastern High School. Well, the Royals knock off the Noblesville Millers by the score of 61-41. A fairly low-scoring game really throughout until the fourth quarter when Hamilton Southeastern, helped by Nick Bowman, who scored 8 points in the quarter, including a couple of big threes, really started to find a little bit of an offensive groove. And then Noblesville, who had a good start to the quarter, simply couldn't match up. And then in the end, Southeastern comes away with a 20-point win, 61-41. Let's give you our final stats for tonight's game. For the visiting Noblesville Millers, leading them with 15 points was Corby Mertens, 10 points each from Xavier Hines and Nolan Ginther, 5 points from Rico Duncan, 1 point from Grant Gremmel. Trevor Conwell, Nick Mills, both were scoreless, as was the Millers' leading scorer this season, Max Flincham. He just never got into any kind of rhythm. He was really frustrated all night long by the Hamilton Southeastern defense. He finishes with 0 points. Noblesville was 7 of 13 from the free throw line. They hit 1 3-point basket. For the Hamilton Southeastern Royals, leading scorer was 17 points. Zach Gunn, 10 points from Nick Bowman, including 8 in that fourth quarter. 9 points from Noah Smith, 8 points from Aaron Etherington, 4 points each from Jurin Bond and Connor Rotterman, 3 points from Austin Holtzman, 2 points each from Chaz Birchfield, Aaron Shank, and Zach Muchner. And Jack Habiger played. They did not score. Hamilton Southeastern, a perfect 8 of 8 from the free throw line. They didn't shoot many free throws, but when they did, they hit them all, and they hit 4 3-point baskets on the night. Southeastern led after the first quarter 14-4. They led 28-17 after the halftime break, 39-26 after 3. They outscored Noblesville 22-15 in the final quarter, and they win this game by 20 by the score of 61-41. For Hamilton Southeastern, the win makes them 14-3 on the season, 3-1 in Hoosier Crossroads Conference play, and the Millers drop to 7-9 overall and 1-3 in the HCC. Next up for Hamilton Southeastern, they are on the road. They will be in Columbus, Indiana, to take on Columbus North on Thursday. We will have those games for you here on Audio Sports Online, beginning with the JV game at 6 o'clock, varsity at 7:30. If at all possible, we will bring you video for that game. However, this is also our first time at Columbus North, so not exactly sure of the internet situation there. So if we can't do video, we will definitely at least bring you audio. And then we will also be back with you on Saturday, next Saturday, that is, when Hamilton Southeastern has the makeup game of the game that was postponed with Westfield a couple of weeks ago. They will play that game on Saturday, February 4th in the afternoon. The JV will be in action that day. They will tip off at 11 o'clock, and they will do so against Heritage Christian, followed by the varsity game against Westfield. That is scheduled to tip off at 12:30. Once again, your final score here at Hamilton Southeastern, the 13th-ranked Royals defeat Noblesville 61-41. This is Brian Scott saying, hey, thanks for joining me on this Friday night. Hopefully you will tune in next time for Hamilton Southeastern basketball on Audio Sports Online. Until then, so long, everybody.